Hey there, and welcome back for another segment of Talk Tuesday. Today's episode is going to be about serotonin and how that affects our mood. And I think it's very important around this time of the year to discuss how food affects our mood and our abilities to do things, because most people are looking at ways of improving their health, which often equates to some sort of dieting, and oftentimes dieting is equated to food restrictions. So this will be very important and all wrapped up into one in the ways that serotonin affects our moods. So to start off, serotonin is 90% of it is produced in our gut. So that means the foods that we eat in some way break down into serotonin. Serotonin is a neurochemical that is our happy chemical, and low levels of that chemical has been known to lead to depression. So what we find in our antidepressants, which are our SSRIs or selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor medications, which are known as like Prozac, Zoloft, Celexa, Lexapro, Paxil, those type of medications work in our brains to keep serotonin free flowing in the brain and accessed by other neurons. That way, we allow our bodies to have access to that chemical, especially for those that have low levels of that already flowing in their body. However, with what I just said, food also helps you to create the serotonin that we need in our bodies. So if you want to equivocate that to improper food can lead to low serotonin, which then leads to depression, which then often brings someone to take an antidepressant. They're kind of all linked together. So bringing it back to what does serotonin do for our bodies? Serotonin plays a huge role in appetite, cravings, suppression, our sleep, moods, motor function, thoughts, cognitions, memory, and our sex drive. So low levels of serotonin obviously affect the mood, can cause like brain fog, can cause issues in memory, insomnia or hypersomnia, obviously appetite. So we want to eat more high carbohydrates, unhealthy processed foods, to in turn trying to create a balance in the brain with the carbohydrates, which is sugar, as opposed to the healthy foods that actually create the serotonin. So then our bodies and our minds begin to run solely off of sugar, which then you have those highs and those lows, as opposed to eating healthy food that creates the serotonin, making us happy and keep us at a level state. So some foods, since I'm kind of on the food roll right now, some foods that have been known to increase serotonin by way of tryptophan. So you hear of tryptophan a lot. It's connected highly to turkey. They always say during Thanksgiving that we want to take a nap after eating turkey because of the tryptophan that's in the turkey. Tryptophan is then broken down in the body and is carried in our food. So think of you eat something that has the tryptophan in it, it breaks down eventually into serotonin. The serotonin, what isn't used up and created into serotonin, then becomes melatonin. Melatonin then is needed for healthy sleep. So you see how our food kind of controls a lot of those aspects in our lives. So the foods that have been known to be connected to tryptophan and increase tryptophan and the ability to make serotonin are things like eggs, cheese, pineapple, tofu, salmon, nuts or seeds, and again, the all famous turkey. So being able to put those things in our bodies, thinking of your diet plan that you go on, of oftentimes, again, this time of the year, the restrictive type of eating. What are we restricting oftentimes? We're restricting high fats, which high fats often are found in eggs, cheese, seeds. So think about how are we going to give ourselves a wholesome meal, but restricting some of the needed things in our diets. Maybe do a little bit of your own research and find out some other foods that may have lower levels of tryptophan in them, but then are also helpful for your body in creating the serotonin. Again, going back, serotonin is needed because it's that happy chemical. It keeps things relaxed. It's known to help with depression and also with anxiety. So we want to eat the things that are healthy for us, that create the best overall picture in our health for us. Just think of it that way, of creating the best spreadsheet or spread of foods that we can eat. So again, serotonin is not in food, but tryptophan is. So thinking of things that are high in tryptophan. Tryptophan is an amino acid that then is broken down into the serotonin and melatonin that we often need to use for happy and sleep. Things that also create serotonin or help with the creation of serotonin is exercise. So exercise helps those endorphins kind of kick off and helps the serotonin then free flow within our bodies. Positive thought processes. It's known that when you are happy or think positive, it's easier to think happy thoughts. So think in a time when you feel really depressed or really negative, how does your mood feel at that time? Oftentimes your mood is reflective of the thoughts that go through your mind. That's why in therapy, oftentimes we discuss positive self-talk, positive ways of thinking about your day, looking at negative things that happen in your life, and also finding positives within that negative event. That helps with the free flowing of the serotonin. Last but not least is sunlight. Sunlight is often not found in the wintertime, which leads to then seasonal depressive disorder, previously known as this dysthymia disorder. So we also know that sunlight contributes to happiness. In the wintertime, we don't have a lot of that. So there are other ways of getting that sunlight type of phenomenon that we need, maybe through vitamin D supplement. First and foremost, go see your doctor and make sure that your doctor does blood work and verifies that you are low in vitamin D, because you don't want to take a supplement if you're not in need of that. There are also these lamps found on Amazon, I'll link them below, that are called sad lamps. And they are known to mimic natural sunlight. And if you use them an hour out of the day, it helps you to have that morning sun that is very healthy for your body. It is not recommended to use those lamps after 5 p.m. because it can inhibit sleep. So you want to make sure that maybe first thing in the morning, you're sitting on the couch, you're drinking your cup of coffee, watching the news. Maybe you're not doing that, but that's what I'm doing. You might want to look at your lamp and see, let that have its effect on you for that hour that you're sitting in front of the television. So I want to kind of recap the need for serotonin and tryptophan-rich foods, because tryptophan then is your precursor, your amino acid that then breaks down and makes the serotonin in your body. Serotonin, again, is 90% made in the gut. It is your happy chemical, and low levels of it has been found to be linked to depression and at times anxiety. The things that I mentioned to do, eating healthy, exercising, thinking positive, and getting sunlight, have been known in research to be as effective as taking an SSRI or your common antidepressants, which I spoke about earlier in the video. Eating foods like eggs, cheese, pineapple, tofu, salmon, nuts, and seeds, and turkey create that tryptophan in the gut, which then is broken down to the serotonin. So again, seeing how our diet is all linked into our mental health, our appetite, sleep, and sex drive, how we feel about ourselves and how we project ourselves to the environment is very, very helpful. So going out, making these New Year's resolutions and wanting to eat better, as opposed to looking at restrictive eating and dieting, looking at how you can actually feed your body to feel good. So that's this week's of Talk Tuesday. I hope you all enjoyed it. And I will be here next week with another tidbit of information. Go out and have a wonderful week. See you all soon.